Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that if you're returning. How you doing? Um, I have some very important information to get out to you, okay? And the first one is a shocking revelation that was unveiled in 1969. And you may or may not have heard this, depending on, how old you are. Of course, I have not, okay? I mean, I was born in 76, so, I have not heard this. So, but this is very revealing. It's very interesting. And take note. Yeah? Okay.
In 1928, the communists declared that the racial differences among our people constituted the weakest and most vulnerable point in our social fabric. By constantly probing and straining at this one spot, they calculated that eventually the cloth could be torn apart and that Americans could be divided, weakened, and perhaps even set against each other in open combat. We mustn't kid ourselves into thinking that the communists have placed their agitators only into the black communities. They're working both sides of the street. They want hatred, violence, and bloodshed between the races, and they don't care how they get it or whom they use, even children if necessary. Here is a book that I think ought to be in every home library. It's entitled Color, Communism, and Common Sense by Manning Johnson. He joined the party as a young man because he honestly believed that the communists were trying to improve the conditions of his people. He was a dedicated communist, and eventually he rose to one of the highest ranks. But after many years, he discovered that instead they were merely planning to use his people in a bloody revolution to destroy America. And when he woke up to this, he dropped out of the party and devoted the rest of his life trying to alert his fellow citizens of all races to the true nature of the Communist Party as he knew it to be from the inside. Manning Johnson said, "Black rebellion was what Moscow wanted. Bloody racial conflict would split America. During the confusion, demoralization and panic would set in. Then finally the Reds say, workers stop work. Many of them seize arms by attacking arsenals. Street fights become frequent. Under the leadership of the Communist Party, the workers organize revolutionary committees to be in command of the uprising. Armed workers seize the principal government offices, invade the residences of the president and his cabinet members, arrest them, declare the old regime abolished, establish their own power." Now, here is a piece of vicious communist propaganda that perhaps some of you have seen. It's called The Crusader. It's written by Robert F. Williams, one of the organizers of the Revolutionary Action Movement. In this issue of The Crusader, the communists call not only for extensive chaos within the cities, but for putting to the torch every village, every forest, every field, and every barn. The plan is for raging fires from one city to the next. The reason? Well, first, there's the value of sheer destruction. Secondly, it would force us to deploy our defenses and rescue units over the widest possible area. The communists point out that as long as our police and National Guard remain concentrated, they're invincible. But if they can be forced to spread out over the entire city and into the countryside as well, then they can be picked off from ambush one by one. And the third value of massive fire to the communists is psychological. The average American, they say, soft and decadent, when he sees billows of black smoke rising from one horizon to the other, when at night the only light he has to see by is the flickering red from flames leaping into the sky, he'll become paralyzed with fear and panic. He'll run away and hide and do nothing to interfere with the guerrilla bands as they strike at the community's power centers. The Crusader explains how to set up sniper units in crowded metropolitan areas, how to manufacture jumbo Molotov cocktails, the gallon jug size, and how to mix the gasoline with certain ingredients to make it burn like napalm, how to pour gasoline into utility manholes in the streets to set fire to the main telephone cables, how to put sulfur tips from matches into air conditioning units and blow up large buildings, how to ignite gas mains and oil storage tanks. It explains how radio-controlled model airplanes can be used to fly explosive charges over heavily guarded fences into gasoline storage areas or munition stockpiles. It even calls for infiltration into the National Guard units, revolutionaries posing as non-militants for the purpose of getting free military training and for gaining access to critical military supplies and heavy weapons. And then, finally, Robert Williams says this: any all-out minority revolution must create a state of crisis wherein almost all of the male population would be forced to remain in their homes to protect their property and families. The middle class is very large, but it is not accustomed to deprivation and terror. Because of its affluence, it has waxed soft. It has no stomach for massive fire, blood, and violence. The motive force behind its life drive is its endless pursuit of prestige, conspicuous consumption, and sensual pleasure. A few years of violent, sporadic, and highly destructive uprisings will set the stage for the grand finale. After the stage is properly set through protracted struggle, America could be brought to her knees in 90 days of highly organized, fierce fighting, sabotage, and massive firestorm. Ladies and gentlemen, the plans and preparations for a communist revolution of force and violence are far advanced. The organization behind these preparations has almost unlimited financial resources, and it provides both training and leadership based upon years of experience in many other countries. Our enemies are deadly serious about their task, and it's nothing short of national suicide for us to continue to ignore their plans and their progress. The violent revolution becomes of primary value to the communists to the extent to which it can be used to condition the masses psychologically to accept the non-violent revolution, which is offered supposedly as the only alternative. Hoping to avoid further violence and bloodshed, the public is to be pressured into accepting measures that will move the country gradually and legally toward communism, but without calling it that. The strategy of the proletarian revolution calls for the quiet conversion of our government into a communist regime, but under the banner of socialism. Well, what is socialism? All right, let's define it. According to the dictionary, socialism is a political concept based upon the principle of government ownership and control of property, the means of production, and the avenues of commerce. Under socialism, those who run the government, and the communists are confident that in America they eventually will be the ones who do so, those who run the government will know who is to get something and who has to wait, and that represents control over human beings. What has all this to do with the communist revolution in America? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has everything to do with it, because the building of socialism is the communist revolution in America. It represents the process whereby our country can be moved gradually toward communism without the people even being aware of it. No matter what grievance we may have, real or imagined, no matter what national problems we may face, the communists seize upon these as excuses to build socialism. They have one and only one solution for all problems: more government, and then more and more until it's total government. And forgive me for saying it one more time, total government is communism.
Now, these next two videos have to do with North Carolina. Now, we've all have seen a lot of videos, okay, of the devastation, showing the horrors that the people in Western North Carolina are now living through. Just listen to the number of the unalived, okay, that just one person has brought down in bags, okay? The media, because we all know that they tell the truth, has been reporting that there are only 102. No. It's always been a lie. Because they don't want us to know the truth. They especially don't want to talk about the ones that are still going on, okay, because of the frigid weather. More people, how do I say this? I wish more people would understand that Western North Carolina is not okay. But I guess because if people are not living it, or they're not researching it, or they're not seeing it, it's not affecting them. The local, the state, the federal government, they're not helping these people, okay? It's only the boots on the ground, the locals, or the charities, or, you know, the ones that are actually going in there to help, like how Pimple went in to help, Bear went in to help, you know, people like us that went into, you know, that type of thing. But the local, the state, the federal, they have failed the people of Western North Carolina. I can't imagine what the toll would have been if not for the volunteers across this wonderful nation that we actually live in. If you have any information about the people in Western North Carolina, the video that I'm about to show you, okay, this gentleman provides you a way to contact him. And I want you to contact him if you have any information on the people that live in Western North Carolina. I want you to listen to this video. I want you to jot down his information. And I want you to get this information out. I want you to make this video go viral. Okay? Because I want his information to be viral. Because the people of Western North Carolina need our help, and they will continue to need our help because they are still living in tents, man. Okay? There are infants, there are children, there are teenagers that are living in tents. Their bodies cannot withstand this cold. Our bodies cannot withstand this cold. We have elders that are living in tents. Okay? Think about how old you are. Think about the disabilities that you may or may not have. Think about your loved ones that are disabled. And think about them living in tents in frigid, cold weather. Okay? Think about it. Okay? Here you go.
Hey, the captain here from Patriot Survival Tactical Team. I'm here in Spruce Pine, North Carolina with Patriot Survival Tactical Team Ryan Zweig and this lovely creature named Jacob. Jacob is a SAR rescue dog, and his owner is with us, his owner Diane. She just wants to tell a little bit of her story about what she's been experiencing here in North Carolina in regards to, you know, the captain has said over and over again, the mathematics just don't work. You have 126,000 houses that were wiped from planet Earth here in North Carolina. There's no way that the body count is 250. So Diane, when I told you that that number was 250 recorded, you have personal experience in just the rescues alone that you have done. So will you tell us, please, from start to today, what you and Jacob have been experiencing?
Well, what I experienced, Jacob alone has 43 bodies under him. I have 19. I brought down, there was 600 body bags that was filled the first day. So their numbers is way off. And then I brought in another 13, dropped them off at Restoration Church in Swananoa, and then I went and got another 75 body bags. Every one of those body bags have people in them. So even at that count, we are still talking, I'm predicting 3,000.
Well, projections federally are between 9,000 and 12,000 right now in regards to information we've got from the 14,000 volunteers that are remaining here in Western North Carolina. Let's talk about, I went on X last week and I talked about a couple in Swannanoa that had an 18-month-old baby, and the baby died of hypothermia in the night. Do you know anything about that story?
I do know about that. I actually said something about the baby dying because the camper was repossessed. Someone gave them a camper, and then they were taken out of the camper, and the baby ended up dying. Now, I stood last Friday, which was a week ago today, at Restoration Church in Swannanoa with Pastor Josh Brown and 6 police department that come in there and told me that the baby did not die. I made it up. It did not happen. I know better than that. I know where the people were taken. I know where the mother and father was, and I knew where the baby was. But that does not mean I have to tell them where the baby was taken. They also told me that the person that I recovered up 50 miles from Swannanoa, when I got called up there, and I was going to recover one of the people that was up there who happened to be in Desert Storm. He was a VA vet. And so I went up there, and we got ready to remove him. And as I got down, I seen this little hand holding on to his belt. His daughter was underneath him. Then the cops proceeded to tell me it did not happen. Well, I know it happened. I was there. Why are they covering this up?
Well,
that's the question I want to know. Who is being paid to cover this up? Someone's being paid.
Well, let's also talk about, I've been talking a lot about the 800 housing units in Greensboro that spent $50 million of U.S. taxpayer money to build those 800 units at a cost of about $136,000 a unit for illegal immigrants. There's not one illegal immigrant in there. And we have boots on the ground that have witnessed and videoed in the beginning days after Hurricane Helene hit North Carolina, videos of Army National Guard and FEMA removing massive amounts of bodies through Huey helicopters and reefer trucks. Is that something you've heard about?
That is a true statement. They come in. We say most of the people at church will tell you what goes around at night, covered in the dark, will be brought to light. Because a lot of people know that FEMA and the guys are going at night and removing bodies. What I would like to do is actually find one of the reefer units, pop that door open. I don't care. I want to pop it open. I want to take pictures because they're lying to people.
Yeah, and I think that the pressure is on because in the last 72 hours we've received video from drones that are showing that those reefer trucks are actually being removed from the Greensboro location.
They are, but I've got pictures of the reefer trucks long before they were moved.
Okay, so
I've got access
so
to
collaboratively
them.
we have that evidence together.
We have that evidence together.
And my belief is that with the pressure that's coming down on FEMA, by the end of this week they will open up Greensboro. It'll be wiped clean. It'll be clean as a whistle.
Of course it will.
And they will open those 800 units to survivors' families or the elderly that are sleeping in tents on contaminated property with the temperatures dropping.
Do you really believe that they're going to do that?
Well, our organization will pressure that to happen.
They should have done it 5 weeks ago.
Yes, they should have.
Before a baby died, before these little kids were thrown on the ground.
Yep. Well, here's where we are. The temperatures are dropping from today. I think
Very cold
catastrophically this week we will see mortality numbers rise.
They're going to rise a lot.
Drastically, and they're not going to be able to hide it because now everybody knows that they have been hiding it. And this is a call out. Captain, if you are a volunteer for any organization or you are a citizen here of North Carolina and you witness over the next couple of days that your neighbors, God forbid, have died in the middle of the night for hypothermia reasons or any other reason due to the negligence of the governor of this state, Governor Cooper, or the federal government's lack of logistical coordination and downright malfeasance, please contact us. Please contact me personally at Ralph, RALPH .AV as in Victor, ALLO, N as in Nancy, E at iCloud.com. Send us that video evidence. We're not going to let them get away with this. We are not a third world country. This is a government for the people and by the people, and the people are being ignored. please post this video. Let it go viral. Let's hold our state and federal governments to account. Diane, thank you so much for your testimony here. Please keep up the good work.
Well, I would tell the people, take pictures, and I wouldn't be too apt to call a government to retrieve a body either, because they will hide it.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Diane. Jacob, thank you so much for your hard work.
He's searched today.
The captain out. We're on the case. We're not letting up on this. We're not letting the government get away with this. Something's got to be done. We are in a pivotal point in American history in regards to the way we respond to catastrophes. We are Americans. We pay our taxes. We go to work every day. We support.
Now, this last video that I'm going to show you is also in North Carolina. The governor of North Carolina lives in this mansion that's in this video. There is an American that is there on Thanksgiving calling him out for still living in this mansion while we have Hurricane Helene victims without help. How can this person, this governor, lay their heads on their pillows every single night knowing that you have women and children, elders, living in tents without any way to shelter themselves, to bathe themselves, to feed themselves, to hydrate themselves, okay? To keep themselves warm. How about you open the doors to that mansion, you son of a bitch? How about you do that? How about you do that? I don't give a shit who you are. I will call you out. I don't care if you're Democrat. I don't care if you're Republican. I don't care who you are or where you stand politically. If I see that you are doing wrong by your people, by the citizens of this country, I will call you out. And you are doing wrong. Open the doors to your mansion and let them in. Give them something nice to eat. Let them take a shower. Let them sleep in a nice warm bed. Open the doors. Reopen the shelters and stop taking the children away from their parents just because they can't provide adequate shelter, which, by the way, was provided by the Amish. But you said they didn't have permits. Open the doors to your mansion, asshole.
It's Wednesday, November 27th. I am in Raleigh, North Carolina, here at the governor's mansion. He's getting his lawn well maintained and groomed, and I'm sure he's in there waiting to accept his guests for Thanksgiving with a warm meal in their belly and a warm house to reside. Well, over 577,000 North Carolinians are homeless from Hurricane Helene. 126,000 houses have been wiped from the face of the earth, and this governor has done nothing to help its people. He can't account for $2.2 billion that was given to him from FEMA. The other day, he went to Washington, D.C. and had dinner with the president begging for another $25 million. Well, we need $4.4 million for emergency shipping container housing shipped to West North Carolina survivors who are living in tents on contaminated ground with no heat, with parents and children. It's time to get up off your ass, Governor, and do something for your people.